Welcome to Wednesday Night Live from the Basement. Here's your hosts, Rob, Daryl, and Joe.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rob. I am sick as a dog and feel like a bag of crap, so you'll have to suffer through my sneezing and hacking this evening, but I'll do my best. I'm joined, as I always am, by my partners in crime, Joe and Daryl, and our special guest this week, embryonic robot, Brian. How you doing, gentlemen?
Good. And you still, even though you're sick, you still look good, and it's better to look good than it is to feel good.
Well, many would argue I don't even look good. So
I'm giving you that one. I'll give you that one.
Yeah. I'll take the compliment, Joe.
Certainly. That's fine.
Take the compliment. I think it's a combination of some Tim Hortons and some Vicks DayQuil, I think is what's. This episode is brought to you by Tim Hortons and DayQuil.
And DayQuil. Perfect.
Yeah, we are accepting sponsorships. So
that's right. Yeah. You can sponsor this dog and pony show with either your dog or your pony. Anyway.
Exactly. Brian, all the way from Tokyo. Welcome, my friend. How you doing?
I watched a good one from him the other night. He found this classical shop. I don't know if you guys saw that one or not, but
I've seen it, but I haven't. I saw it, but I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'd like to talk to him a little bit more about it because it looked like there was some more interesting stuff going on actually behind the counter as well. The gentleman that was running the place, but it's a good one for sure. So
very cool. Simultaneous to our broadcast this evening is the all-important Game 4 of the American League Division Championship Series. So I will do my best to, not be too distracted by that. I'm furious with my Blue Jays for a bunch of reasons. They shit the bed last night. The Yankees didn't win last night. The Jays lost last night, and there's a fundamental difference between that. And I'm even more pissed off that we decided in Game 4 of a championship series that we would decide to go with a bullpen day because we didn't put enough starters on the roster is absurd to me. So I highly expect we're going to lose tonight. But as it stands at the moment, for all of you watching that care, which I know is nobody except myself, it's tied 1-1 in the third.
And Sir Anthony is in already. So they've gone through Varland and they've gone through, I don't think Little's pitched yet, but Dominguez is in right now. So
it's absurd to me. Like
I don't get it. How do you not have a fourth starter? But anyway, I digress because you just said all that. Daryl, how are you? Sorry, go ahead. Bitch some more.
I'm wonderful. And just as important as that Jays game, it is the Leaf and Montreal Canadiens season opener tonight. I will be focusing on that as well.
You got the double hats going on. I just went Canadian. So
okay.
But I'm a little bit upset. You guys know that I like Nickelback, and I wore this at work today, and I just got busy. Kids were making blueberry crepes in my foods class, and I got some fucking blueberry sauce on my white Nickelback shirt.
If only you'd gotten more on there, it would have been a better shirt.
I'm absolutely
you just covered the whole front of
crushed.
it.
I'm crushed.
Do the kids know who Nickelback is? Like, do they know the band?
They do, but they don't really say anything about them.
So
my students are funny. If they ask me to play music, it's, "Sir, could you play the Minecraft playlist because it's pretty relaxing." So that's what they want, Minecraft.
It is what it is.
We're heading into our 1 week hunt break up here, so I've got 2 more days of work and then a week off.
Nice.
It's an unusual thing here, but that's why my school goes back in August instead of September long weekend.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Tie the tight shirt. Yep.
Yeah. And Brian, nice to see you. It's been a while, quite a while, in fact, I think.
Yeah, so, I don't even know. It's been a while, sure.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Through all the renos. You've done all the renos since I've seen you last for sure. So
yeah, I guess the last time, well, I don't know if I was on since the reno. Anyway, the reno was done. I talked about it too much, but it's over and done with. And
Good.
It was very expensive. I'm glad it's over.
What was it worth it?
Yeah, I mean I did post a video, but the main floor, I mean, it was functional in a way, but the kitchen was at least 30 years old. It was old when we bought the house, so it needed to be updated. And, we had electrical issues, we had old wiring. So the floor was done. There was no insulation. It wasn't ergonomic in the kitchen. So all those things, it just had to be done. So,
Yep. Sometimes you just have to. I get that. We've done most of our place now, so we're getting there almost.
yeah, years ago we had our basement dug out, which is where I am now. This used to be like a wet cellar, like with a low ceiling, and there would be water pooling on the floor when it rains. We had this completely dug down, underpinned, and redone. So that was I guess it was like 10 years ago, maybe. It was expensive, but
That's a job.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Jeez.
but it was good. That night that needed to be done because it was awful. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta love houses. The more you do to them, the more you want to do to them.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Our house
Hopefully
is-
when I sell it, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's what we all shoot for, right? Is that if we put this much in, we get this much out of it. So
yeah.
hopefully that's the case. But
ours is completely done, and every month I think of there's another thing I want to do.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? So, excuse me. I'll do my best not to cough on everybody here tonight. Is there any exciting music news to talk about? I mean, I guess there's Rush going back out on the road. Do we care?
well,
I care.
Yeah, I care, but I have to go to frickin' Toronto to see them again.
Well,
I don't
you
expect
should.
them- Yeah, I know.
You should
I know.
because Brian lives there. I live close to there, so like you're killing three birds with one stone. Just don't
I
kill
know.
Brian.
I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my start of a bitch about them for
This is what we do, Joe.
okay.
You come to Toronto to see Rush,
Yeah.
and then we do a Wednesday show where you and me are right here.
Or live in the same spot.
Oh.
Well, okay. Well, let me work on that because I have no issues with the lady playing the drums. That's who those two chose. It's all good to me,
Yeah.
Is it going to be different? Sure, but it's still going to be the same music. It's still going to be good. I think they've got someone else playing keyboards, I believe, as well. So Getty can just focus on bass, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, my only complaint is again, and they used to do it often before, one Toronto date and or 3 Canadian dates, and now it's just one. So Montreal and Vancouver are even getting screwed these days by some of the bigger artists. But with that said, I never really thought they were ever going to be out there again anyway. So at least they are out there a little bit. So
Well, they did add 11 more dates today. So
oh,
I
did
think
they?
there's
Okay,
going
I
to be
didn't
more.
see that.
I think
Yeah.
there's going to be more coming. But my only concern is ticket prices. Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what they will be.
Dynamic pricing. I'm
Yeah.
sure it will kick in. Yeah, I don't expect them to play Regina and or even Saskatoon probably, but I'd like to see them in maybe in Edmonton and then of course a Vancouver or whatever. But we'll see. I didn't know they added some more. I was busy today a little bit, so I didn't see what happened. So I will. Well, I guess I can still have the argument of no other Canadian dates for now, but hopefully there's going to be some more. So that'd be
Yeah.
great. That'd be good. And I have seen them, but I'd like to see them. I'd see them one more time for sure. So
You would think, being a Canadian band, that they would have thrown in a couple more Canadian dates, like a Vancouver,
yeah, you would. I
at
don't.
the
I
very
don't
least,
know.
or a Montreal.
Yeah. I don't know why that's not just a no-brainer. And again,
Right.
unless there are things in the background and they are going to, and they just haven't yet. So
Mhm.
yeah, if the time frame comes where the tour is done and they didn't add some more Canadian dates, then I will go on a little bit more of a rant. But for now, I'll cut them a little bit of slack. But they used to do that from time to time before when they were kind of heyday-ish even. I mean, early, they toured everywhere. They played Moose Jaw, Regina, Saskatchewan, and they might have played Prince Albert as well. But that all changed, it seems. But anyway, I digress. Beyond that, I'm not sure what else is out there. There's some new titles and stuff coming out, and we're getting closer to Springsteen, so that's always good.
When's Springsteen again?
17th, and then I think the movie's the 24th. So,
Gotcha.
and I still haven't got my Taylor Swift albums, but
I
they're
was going to ask, did you get your Taylor Swift records?
no, they're in transit between Guelph and here. So hopefully tomorrow is the plan. So, yeah.
I had to Amazon it because nowhere around here had it.
Yeah,
And-
I don't know what the deal was. Like I heard numerous different reasons why my supplier didn't get them. And my supplier is not the only Canadian supplier, but the Sunrise Records here doesn't have them either. I think you said there, the Sunrise didn't have it
They
there.
didn't have it either. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, but Amazon's got it, and there's a bunch of places in the States that have it. So I don't know if my supplier got screwed, but anyway, I've bitched enough about that. Move on from me.
I want to bitch about Amazon for a second.
Okay, well, yeah, sure.
Because I pre-ordered something off Amazon, and this is the third time that this has happened to me. So I pre-ordered the Oasis What's the Story Morning Glory Super Box Set, whatever the hell you want to call it, the 3-disc, whatever.
Yeah.
Pre-ordered it the day that it was announced from Amazon Canada. Okay. Got my order confirmation. Release day comes around, and I get an email from Amazon. Again, this is the third pre-order that this has happened to me, and it says, we've experienced a delay. We'll advise you when our stock arrives and we're able to ship.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I click on the actual listing. I could buy it right now, and it will ship and be here in 3 days. But my pre-order is on indefinite hold.
Yeah.
So they fuck over the people that pre-order it. They kept the price the same, so it's kind of a moot point. But it's still like that's bullshit. Fill your pre-orders before you open it up to general release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Goddamn Amazon. So now what I do is I pre-order shit, and then if I get that email, I cancel it and just reorder it. Just
yeah,
bullshit. Yeah. I hate Amazon, but you got to do what you got to do. So it is what it is. It is still 1-1 in the top of the fourth. So there we go. Who knows? Who cares? I care, but I love my Jays and I hate my Jays in equal measure. So, I guess we get into our topic this evening, which is connections. We have done this 3 times before. And a lot of folks have said they really liked it. And by a lot of folks, I mean tens of people. I really enjoyed this.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah. So the premise for those that haven't seen us do this before is one of us, in this case, it was my turn, picks, I think I picked 12 records, whatever it was. And my co-hosts have to then pick records that are connected to that. So for each one that I pick, they have to have, not have to, I make it sound like this must be the way. The goal is that when I show a record, you've each selected one from your collection that is in some way connected to that record, whether it's a producer, a mastering engineer, the studio it was recorded at, the guitar that played one of the songs, the taxi driver that drove them from the airport to the studio. However the hell you want to interpret, these albums are connected in some way, shape, or form. So that's our topic. We've done it before, and it's kind of fun because it lets us, at least I have found when we've done it before, I've learned a lot of stuff, because I don't think we can do this without Googling. I mean, if you could do this with just background knowledge, you're a bloody genius. So you tend to learn a lot about some of these albums. So to that end, shall we get started?
Sure.
Okay.
Fire away.
I apologize if my voice is nasally and crackly, but it is what it is this evening. So I'm going to start off with what I think is the easiest one. I think. Maybe. I don't know. We can go with the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. Their 1965-6 album that was, Brian Brian Wilson's sort of studio masterpiece that he put together while the band was out on tour, because he left the touring lineup of the Beach Boys because he was dealing with some mental health issues and some drug addiction issues, and he put together what is kindly regarded as sort of one of the most landmark albums that inspired the Beatles to go on and make Sgt. Pepper. It's a brilliant record, some pretty incredible work done on here. The Wrecking, it's not actually the Beach Boys, it's the Wrecking Crew with the Beach Boys providing the vocals, essentially. So I don't know if Sam tunes in. This is one of his favorite albums. I really like this. Do I like every song on it? No. But it's still really good. I had the privilege of seeing Brian Wilson on tour with Al Jardine celebrating this album when they played it live in its entirety, which was amazing. You know, hearing them do God Only Knows live, one of the concert highlights of my life. So as our jumping off point, the Beach Boys Pet Sounds. Hello to Scott that's watching. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, Scott.
Brian, what connection do you have to Pet Sounds?
Very little, in fact.
All right.
I mean, you might be surprised. I've said this before. I don't own a copy of Pet Sounds on any format. I've never even heard the whole record from start to finish, although I do know, obviously, some of the songs on it. So if I ever hear it, it'll be like the first time. So I've never heard it. And this one caused me some issues, despite I didn't want to do something really obvious. So in this case, I chose the photographer who did the cover photo for the Pet Sounds album, which is, I had made notes because I'm never going to remember this. George German, Jerman. And believe it or not, he did I don't know if I can believe it or not. He did the cover photo for this record from Junior Mance, who's an American jazz guitarist. That's a really weird connection, but
it's still a connection. That's good, man.
So
there's going to be another one later.
When did this come out? I don't even know when I can't remember when this came out.
That looks like an early 60s kind of aesthetic to it.
Yeah, I should have looked it up because it's in my Discogs. But yeah, so he took this image here of the pianist himself, right? Not I don't think he did the graphic design, just the photograph. And he did obviously the photograph on Pet Sounds. I don't have anything to say about this record because I've only listened to it a couple of times and I haven't listened to it for Shrink Wrap.
Rip it off.
I should because it's almost off. Like
rip it, Brian. Do it.
Oh yeah, I should take it off because look, it's not even in good shape anymore.
Do it because Andrew will have a freaking coronary. Andrew will just shit himself.
This is for press to play. I'm gonna take it off. All right, there we go.
Listen to the
it looks better already.
Oh, that's better already.
Now I got to get a sleeve for it.
You know where you can get good sleeves.
I wasn't even paid to say that. So,
I know. There we go. I love giving Andrew a hard time about the Shrink Wrap.
Yeah, so. There we go. On this Capital label. So that is my tenuous connection for Pet Sounds.
That's fantastic. That's a great connection. I actually like that better because we're always doing that producer's the same producer. So that's thinking outside the box. I love it. Great.
And FBA, couldn't have been done without the help of the internet for sure.
Well, all of these, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Morton loves that. And then Andrew's brain is melting down because of the Shrink Wrap. So.
I'll send it to you in the mail if you want it. So generally, though, I leave it on. Generally, I leave the Shrink Wrap on, but that was in bad shape. But it's probably very old Shrink Wrap, too.
I have a 1964 copy of one of the original Beatles albums. Still has the Shrink Wrap on it. But it's torn just like that one is. And one of these days, I'm just going to film a video where I rip the Shrink Wrap off, and I'm just going to send it to Andrew so that he can, have a meltdown. Look at that. His heart is racing. There you go. Okay. Daryl, you got a connection to Pet Sounds?
Yeah, I do. So this is one, like Brian, I actually don't own Pet Sounds, and I've never heard it fully through as well.
That's okay.
So, but here's the deal. Like, I'm not anti Pet Sounds like Robert Fithen is. Like, Robert Fithen is like the next. He's like what's his name down in Australia about Van Morrison.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I was doing my research, turns out that Pet Sounds is one of the first concept albums really that's ever come out. So I went that route, and I went with another concept album, which is Tommy, which actually isn't my favorite Who album either. I like most of their other stuff, but I mean, this is a good album, and I think this is my only triple. I think.
Ooh.
So if we're gonna show it, we might as well show it. But I think it's my only triple gatefold that I have. So really neat. I got this. My father-in-law, I think, got this for me for Christmas one year. I was quite shocked that I got it because, I mean, he doesn't really listen to this kind of stuff. He's all about Southwestern Ontario and country music. So when I got this, it was pretty good. But I mean, Pinball Wizard's a great song. I mean, I've never seen Tommy, but I mean, I don't like to say if you know, you know. I mean, but most people know this album, and it's a pretty good album. So yeah, I went the concept route, and yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say about this one other than it's a really good triple gatefold.
Yeah.
It's a reissue. I left my. I actually can't fit this in my Vinyl Storage Solutions sleeves because I don't have one that's big enough.
Oh, you gotta get the
that
big
one.
ones. Got to get the big ones. Record Hound, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the replay later. Okay, well, we'll try to make sure the rest of the show is as good as the first few minutes.
That's right.
I make no promises, though. Joe, what's
You know
your,
what? If you go to vinylstoragesolutions.ca, they actually do have triples. So you slide the one over, that does the middle, and then you slide 2 extra over on the side, and that makes your triple gatefold. I think they have a couple different versions, but if you go there, you have to make sure you use the promo code Northern10, and if you hit that QR code that's right there, that will take you right to where you want to be. You can pick up all your inners and your outers that you want. You'll get a 10% discount. Shipping is reasonable as all get out, and I don't think they're using Canada Post, so you'll actually get your stuff in the next little while. So there you go.
exactly.
You know what
Okay.
I found out, Joe? Speaking of Canada Post, I found out apparently that Purolator is actually shipping up to where I am right now. What they
Oh, are
do
they?
is they get it as far as I think they get it as far as Cochrane or whatever it is, and then they fly it up and send it
geez.
to our air cargo department.
How much is that going to be though?
I think it's the same shipping.
Just because they're trying to help and trying to build some good vibes, I guess, a little bit while Canada Post is not around. So that's good. That's
so.
good. Yeah, your stuff is coming with the other stuff. So we'll talk.
Oh, good. All good.
Okay, so I own 2 copies of Pet Sounds. I don't know why, but I have 2 copies of it. So just, to continue on with the theme. But I really went with something, I don't think it's lame. It's different because, I could have gone with, well, here's some more albums with sheep on the front, although I'm not even positive that there's a sheep on it. I know there's a goat. Is there a sheep on the front?
They are all goats.
Yeah. And then I thought about trying to find some albums with the Wrecking Crew on it, and those are a plethora of those, right? That's easy if you want to find guys that played on that, and then were in the Wrecking Crew and played on other stuff. But I went the softball-ish, maybe kind of a little bit, because on the song Caroline No, which I think is that last on the first side, last on the second side, I don't know.
It's last on the whole entire album.
Well, there you go. From what I understand, and I didn't actually listen to it yesterday or today, Brian Wilson's dogs bark on the song. There's a couple of dogs barking. They're his dogs. So I went looking for another album where dogs are barking, and there's a few out there, but this is the one that I went with, and it's actually just the greatest hit. So this is for our friend Chris Mann, who isn't watching live with us, but will watch later. So there is a song by the Beasties called Sure Shot. If you don't stop, I can't remember exactly. I'm not going to start singing the Beastie Boys. But anyway, there are dogs barking on the song Sure Shot. There's about 5 or 6 different ones out there where you can audibly hear a dog barking as part of the song. So yeah, there you go. It's the dogs are barking on the Caroline No, and the dogs are barking on Sure Shot. I was watching. The hell was I watching? This is going to be one of those stories that I'm just not going to make any sense. I was watching a documentary of an album that got recorded at someone's farm, and it's not. Anyway, they picked up a bunch of animal sounds in the background, but you have to kind of have the headphones on to really hear a lot of this stuff because they just did it off the mics live, and that's how that album went out. And it will take me a while, but I will think of it. So this is not that case. This is purposely dogs barking. This is not because they're just barking outside. But there is an album where, good Lord, what? Oh, Blue Rodeo, 5 Days in July.
I'm going, are you being serious or are you being a smartass? That's 5 days.
No, I'm being serious. Where I watched the documentary. Yeah.
5 days in July.
Like I said, if you have good enough speakers out your headphones on, you can hear stuff going on outside, right? Because how can I not find the opening to this? There we go. Anyway, so dogs barking on Sure Shot by the Beastie Boys.
I would
I
call
always
that
thought when the dogs were
deep cut.
barking on Sure Shot, I always thought the dog was saying "I love you" at the beginning.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe. I don't
You
know.
notice
is.
that, but it almost sounds like the dog's actually saying that on Sure Shot.
The other one, obviously, that came to mind first, but I have a Jane's Addiction, but I don't have Jane's Addiction with Been Caught Stealing on it, because that's like right at the beginning, bark, 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 and then into Been Caught Stealing. But yeah, there we go.
All right.
Sure Shot. And you're out of order, goddammit. I have my list and my notes are all in order. Stop going out of order.
Okay, well, I don't.
No, I can figure it
No.
out. I'll be all right.
Hold on. If you're going to be like that, Jesus.
I'm going to be like that. Exactly.
Hold
Bitch,
on. I got to find the damn list now. Hold on.
bitch and complain.
Okay. This is...
Well, Ernie Clement is playing well.
Did he hit anything?
He's on. But
No.
But yeah, he's been pretty hot.
Hold on. I just got to find the stupid email that I sent you. Hold on.
We can go without. I have it brought up.
No. Okay. I'll go to what I had. These were in no particular order. So that's why I didn't think it mattered. Okay. Ryan says he has a playlist that features songs with dogs barking.
There you go. Perfect.
That would be a good list.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one I had on my list, which was in no particular order, but apparently matters to Joe, was this one here. See, Joe, you got me all out of
Flustered, man. Sorry.
Hold on. See, the production value just going downhill.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Greatest hits. This should get Chris Mann excited because it's greatest hits. This is Diana Ross and the Supremes. Why do I own it? Because my dad was a massive fan of those like Motown girl groups from the 60s. You know, the Ronettes, the Supremes, the Crystals, all of that kind of stuff. I heard a lot when I was a kid. So I bought this because really all I need is the greatest hits, but it really takes me back to being a kid. It makes me think of dad. So I went this route. This has, obviously all of the big ones on there. Where Did Our Love Go? Baby Love, Stop in the Name of Love. I think there's a trend there.
A little bit.
Yeah, You Keep Me Hanging On. Great songs. I don't have more to say about it. Where did you go with that one, Brian?
Well, you picked another record that I don't own. In fact, I own nothing by that band on any format, so that's kind of weird. But I went with the cover version. These were written by Dozier Lamont, right? Every song, I believe. And so Where Did Our Love Go? I think it's been covered many times, but I chose the cover version from Soft Cell, from Nonstop Ecstatic Dancing. I'm sure people will know this. They did a really innovative cover version of this song. This came out in 82, and they did Where Did Our Love Go, second track on side A. And I think this is a really interesting cover version because it's sort of unexpected, I guess, in how they did it. But I think it's pretty good. I don't remember where these guys are from. They're like a synth duo, I guess you'd call them, I suppose. And I don't have much to say about it other than the fact that, their other big hit was also a cover version, which was Tainted Love, of course. So they seem to hit the cover version circuit, I guess. But kind of an interesting record from 82 in the synth pop genre. That's all I got for that one.
That works. That's a good connection. I like that.
Yeah, I think I probably played that one a few times back in the DJing days.
Yeah.
Right.
Leslie, welcome. How are you? Daryl. What's your connection to the Supreme?
Kind of funny. It's almost like Brian and I are on the same wavelength tonight because I also went the cover route and I went possibly the most obvious one, just because this was one of two that I struggled with. I don't know why I struggled with it because I like the Supremes. I could have went with just straight up Diana Ross. She's in the band and all that kind of thing, but I chose to go with the Phil Collins route. You Can't Hurry Love. I do have the inner sleeve.
The Blue Jays just scored. Sorry. 2-1.
And it's gatefold, so I might as well show that. But yeah, I mean, this has I don't care anymore. And, I've talked about Phil Collins multiple times. I do like Phil Collins during his solo days. Yeah, I think he's a great drummer, and it's a really good album. When I was reading about it, it sounds like when Phil Collins and the producers wanted to do the cover of this, I think they said it was like 16 or 17 years later, that they wanted to try to make it as authentic to the 60s sound as they possibly could go, though I'm not really noticing any 60s vibes from the Phil Collins version. But apparently the way that they perceived it is Phil Collins wanted to do it in a 60s version. And so, yeah, I don't mind it. I actually prefer, my mom used to have a live Phil Collins album, and I actually prefer the live version of You Can't Hurry Love to the album, the studio album. But yeah, I went the cover route as well. So
Okay.
there you go.
When I pulled this, I thought, I know Daryl has some Diana Ross, and that's probably going to be the way he's going to go. So, okay, Joe.
All right. This one, I actually should have pulled a couple of them, but because I do have a few different ones, but I just went with them together with some of their other artists from Motown, because I've got this one, which is them and the Four Tops, and then I've also got them with them and the Temptations as well. Like I said, it's over there. I don't know why I didn't pull it, but Motown, they had their big stable of artists, and they a lot of the times will put them together. It's almost I did listen to this today. It's pretty good, and it's not necessarily one them, one the other, if I remember correctly. I don't know why. I just listened to it today and I can't remember. So I don't think it's like the Lennon album we were talking about, where it's John and then it's Yoko. I don't think it's the Four Tops and the Supremes. Now, it's also not a hits by each band as well. So they just got together and wanted to sell some more records, and none of them are by the writers that Brian mentioned as well, which is kind of the route that I first went. And I assumed I'd look at this album and everything would be by those guys, but it's not. They wrote for both of them. They wrote for so much Motown, but like I say, there are no real hits on here. It's not like it's not like the biggest of the Four Tops and the biggest of the Supremes, but yeah, a little funky little animated cover of Diana Ross and the Four Tops together, and the Yankees just committed an error. So
Excellent.
Getting to play-by-play.
I am surprised that nobody went the Berry Gordy Hitsville USA kind of route.
Yeah, there was
That
a
was
few
the
others.
softball that I lobbed up there. And I thought, well, that's going to be an easy one.
Yeah.
So that's good, though. Very good. Okay. Yes, the Leafs are playing tonight, too. And as I said off the top,
Yeah, your Canadians are winning right now.
as I said off the top of the show. There we go.
It's 2-1 Montreal, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, this hat doesn't fit me. It's too small, so it sits on my Darth Vader head that's over here.
Well, you do have another hat on. You know that, right?
Yes, I know. But if I were to take this off and put that on, it doesn't fit.
I know.
So it sits on top of Darth Vader right there. See? It's on top of Darth Vader.
Nice.
Because every desk should have a Darth Vader on it. All right. That means we're going around again, which means it's my turn. Okay.
It is.
Now, what was the one? Because, again, it's very important that I have this in the right order for Joe. Okay. Because he's got the Alzheimer's and the other guy gets confused. So.
You guys hear voices? What?
All right. Where's this one in my file? There we go. Okay. Another one that was very easy because there's a ton of people on this, or a ton of people involved in this. I went with Stevie Nicks' Belladonna. I bought this. This is my copy, but I bought a copy for the wife just recently because it was her birthday, and she loves Fleetwood Mac. And I'm like, honey, you're going to like this. She's never listened to it. And I go, but trust me. If you like Rumors, you're going to love this because very much. And if you like a certain other artist, which I won't tip off because one of you might show it, you're going to like this. This is a fantastic album. Not to take anything away from Stevie Nicks, but I think this album is so good because of who else is on the record and who produced the record. She writes good songs, but they took that album to a whole other level. It's phenomenal. It's a gatefold, so here we go. I don't really know what that's supposed to be. Stevie doing some dancing there.
Yep.
Yeah. This had her big solo hits on here. I won't mention them because they may come into play with what you guys pick. So, Brian, what's your link to Belladonna?
It's tenuous. This is we're 3 for 3 here on records I don't own. I've heard the 2 hits from this album, of course, maybe too many times, and the famous duet on this record.
Yes.
I don't like, and the other hit I don't like it either. However, there, as you say, are a lot of people who connect with lots of obvious connections. But I was looking at this and I noted that the guy who plays, well, with the help of Google, I noted that the guy who plays percussion on Stop Dragging My Heart Around and Outside the Rain is called Phil Jones. And I happened to discover that Phil Jones is credited with playing tambourine on this Tragically Hip record. Now,
good Lord, that's a connection.
Yeah, there you go.
It doesn't give you which track. So I don't know if he's playing tambourine on every track or some tracks or maybe just one, but he's got this credit here. Phil Jones, tambourine. And to be honest, I don't remember ever hearing a tambourine on this record. To be honest, I have no idea where it shows up. Oh, I didn't say it was Road Apples by the Tragically Hip from 1991. So I don't know. And I was thinking about that, thinking this is pretty perfect really in a way, because I think of the tambourine as being an unheralded instrument. It's kind of like the guy that plays the triangle in the orchestra, this guy playing the tambourine. It's kind of not really masculine in a way. It's got the jingly things on it. So I thought it's pretty brave to play the tambourine. And I don't know what kind of percussion he was playing on Stevie Nicks' record there, but he's playing the tambourine here. And I don't know. I'm going to have to listen to it now to see if I can detect the tambourine. But of course, this is the 3rd Tragically Hip record with, got a lot of big hits on here. Little Bones, I guess, was a big hit, and 3 Pistols, Fiddler's Green, which may be their saddest. Was a long time running, but yeah, a pretty good record from the Tragically Hip. And I'm talking about the Tragically Hip, knowing full well that Rob is not a
massive fan.
Tragically
fan.
So
right up there with Bob Dylan. Massive fan.
Yeah.
We forgive him for it though, so it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
That
all right.
said, I bought a Bob Dylan record this weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh no,
I did.
He did. He even showed me a picture.
The only reason I did, though, is Planet Waves, because it's Bob Dylan and the band.
yeah.
Am I going to listen to it? Probably once, and that's it. So. But we digress. Good connection, Brian. That is a deep link. That's pretty good.
Brian, that tambourine thing kind of reminds me of the first time that I realized that Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead has a triangle in it.
Oh, does it?
And the guy is a guy that I used to work with, and he's like, just listen to the song and I'll tell you when the triangle comes in. And now every single time I hear that song, I hear the triangle.
No way. I have that song, by the way, Fake Plastic Trees, on my Spotify Christmas playlist, which confuses people.
That's
Yeah.
all right. So I went the I guess maybe the lyrics / writing path on this. And so this album here, it's a greatest hits album just for Chris Mann as well. But Edge of 17 was written about John Lennon. And so I went the John Lennon route.
Was it? I had no idea.
She basically was I think what I read is that she was grieving about his death, his murder, but at the same time her uncle, I think it was.
Wow.
So the song is written about John Lennon and him.
That's cool.
Inspired by.
So,
I had no idea.
I don't think it's directly expressed in the lyrics, but yeah, it's a pretty cool connection. I didn't know about it either. And this particular greatest hits, the collection, I think it was released. When was it released? I don't even have. I need bifocals. I think one of these days. I'm getting old. Anyway, it was released. This has all the ones from the John and Oko album too, just starting over, and this is a really good collection. So If you're ever looking for a John Lennon greatest hits, this one's really good. But yeah, no, something I learned, like I said, is that Edge of 17 is her express of grief regarding his murder, as well as a family member of hers.
That's my favorite song on that album. I absolutely love it. Waddy Wachtel, one of my favorite guitar players, just kills on that song.
Mm-hmm.
So, Vinyl Richie, how you doing, my friend? Welcome. Have any of you seen the Brian Jonestown Massacre? Coolest tambourine player in the history of rock.
I'll keep that in mind.
What about the Traveling Wilburys? Do I like them? I absolutely love the Traveling Wilburys, despite the fact that Bob Dylan is there. And you know what? I have to confess, I don't mind a few of the Dylan songs. Tweeter and the Monkey Man, freaking love that song. I could tolerate Dylan's voice on that album. So, and the second album for that matter. Always hoped that they would tour. That would have been insane. Yeah, it sure would have been. Ian Astbury of The Cult, I guess, in reference to tambourine player. Oh, we're going down tambourine players. Mark Gold, too. White Winged Dove, Spirit Leaving the Body. I love White Winged Dove. That's a killer song, too. Okay. Joe.
I think most good frontmen worth their salt are tambourine players as well, right? I think for the most part, maybe not, but okay. So we talked about the fact that there are some duets on that album. So I'm going to go the opposite of that, where Stevie had Tom Petty and Don Henley sing with her on that album. I'm going to go with albums that she sang back up on, and I have written down notes, and I'm not ashamed to use them. You can still change your mind by this young man, Mr. Tom Petty himself. And I think she's supposed to be a little more on this album as well. I get out of the sleep. But that is one specific song she's actually credited on. So there's that. And, you know, obviously we've talked about it, but I don't know if we said Tom Petty, one of the duets on Belladonna, as well as Dawn's on there. But a lot of the guys from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers were on that album as well. They wrote songs. They performed on it. Benmont's on there, I think. Mike Campbell's on there, lots of that. So, but this is Stevie singing backup or along with Tom on his album. And then one more quick one, which is the same thing, but a little different. It's her and Lana Del Rey. And the song that she's on is Beautiful People, Beautiful Problems. And that's a sticker. Lana doesn't have teeth problems. I'm not exactly sure why the sticker's right there, but anyway, there's the Lana Del Rey. But Lust for Life is the album, and the song is Beautiful People, Beautiful Problems that Stevie Nicks sings along with. And she's on a lot of other albums, but I'd shown them before. Walter Egan, Magnet and Steel, she's on that. She sings with Kenny Loggins. She's on with Kenny Loggins. She did a lot of backup stuff. And then, of course, there's her and Lindsay with their album as well, which has been reissued now and is out. So, yeah. So Stevie had some folks sing with her. She's been on. Those are just a couple examples of albums that she has sung backup and or duet. Sometimes it's just backup, like Walter Egan. It's just kind of background until you know, and then you go, oh yeah, there's Stevie Nicks singing. Kind of like tambourine, might be a little bit easier to pick up, but it's got to be hard to pick up just the tambourine unless it's a solo. I don't know. I'm gonna have to
solo.
So a tambourine solo you can probably pick up on, but laid in with all the rest, I'm not sure that that's going to be the easiest find, Brian. But I know you're up to the task.
I'll give it a shot.
So the impetus for me picking that record is I've had this idea noodling around in my brain forever. And I somehow want to do a video with that album at the center of it and how many of my other albums I can connect to it. Because so you've got Stevie Nicks, who was part of Fleetwood Mac and Buckingham Nicks. And you have Tom Petty and Mike Campbell on that record from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, obviously. You have Don Henley on there from the Eagles. I think one of the other members of the Eagles plays bass or something on one of the songs. I don't remember. You got Jimmy Iovine as the producer. I'm just thinking, how many other ways, you know, you Waddy Wachtel is her guitar player, who also was Linda Ronstadt's guitar player. So in my head, I'm like, that could be an interesting video. How many albums I've got that where Belladonna is like the center of the spider web. And I haven't quite fully fleshed the idea out in my head, but there's a lot of albums I own that are connected to that. So that's why I picked this one. I always think it's an interesting the sort of starting point for collaboration. So here we go. All right. It's still 2-1 Toronto in the top of the 6th. So that's good. If we're still live when it's the bottom of the 9th and we're winning, I'll excuse myself for 2 minutes to go scream and Joe can host the show. But I got to pull up my list because the next one, okay, now I know what the next one is. So now I make myself large and I will pull this record.
Don Felder was the other Eagle. I looked it up. I didn't know that, but he's on there.
I just bought this weekend, not because I'm a fan of this man, but I know many people who've said, ignore his other work. This is a friggin' great record. So Rod Stewart, Every Picture Tells a Story. Big single off here is Maggie May. I couldn't give two shits about Rod Stewart. I really don't. But a lot of people have said to me, this is a really good rock and roll record. And I went, oh, that's not what I would expect from Rod Stewart. So when I was at the record show this weekend, a guy had a copy of this for $5. I'm like, $5, why not? And I listened to it, and it's actually really, really good. Some good stuff on here. This is a gatefold, which I guess looks like, there you go. So there you go, 1970. I don't know what the hell it is, so can't tell you much about it other than I've listened to it twice and thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's the only Rod Stewart that I'm ever going to need. So, Brian, what's your connection?
I actually have a copy of this one, so I will pull it out. 1973.
There we go.
And of course, there's so many directions you could go on this. But as I was looking at this, I noted the drummer here. The drummer's name is Mick Waller. And it just says with thanks to Mick Waller drums. So I guess that means he played drums on the whole thing. I don't really know, but Mick Waller, and he's played drums on it for a lot of people. There's a big list of people, but I chose something that's kind of, I think, maybe miles away from Rod Stewart. That's Billy Bragg. So this is Workers' Playtime. So there are 3 tracks on here. The Price I Pay, Life with the Lions, and Waiting for the Great Leap Forwards, which is a single off this record that this guy, for his name, Mick Waller, plays drums on. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I wouldn't associate Billy Bragg, the political, singer-songwriter, with Rod Stewart in any way. But not much to say about that except the drummer connection, which is a pretty interesting one. So that's it. Pretty short and sweet on that one.
I never would have made that connection. I don't think of Rod Stewart and Billy Bragg in the same thought. So
no, probably few people do.
Exactly. Rich is saying late 60s, early 70s, Rod Stewart is one of the best rock singers. I need to get them. Yeah, I guess. I mean, a lot of folks have said the same thing.
Yeah, the album that he references, him in the Faces, obviously was in the Faces before he went out on his own, which is a lot of good stuff. And then, I don't know, I didn't mind Rod all the way through. He's got his schloggy stuff or whatever you want to call it. But the early stuff is very good, I think. So
I know your favorite Rod Stewart song, Joe, is the song he does with Bryan Adams and that other guy, Sting.
Every song that Bryan Adams is on is definitely one of my favorites.
I know. Yeah. It's Daryl's turn, and I'm going to go figure out why my kid is yelling at my wife. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I'm just going to show this just for fun, but I actually have Rod Stewart's Storyteller. I think this is 5 discs, the complete anthology, 1964 to 1990. And then I have one other album by him. But the connection that I made is, like Brian, I went with somebody that kind of plays on the album, not the drummer though. But I went with the player on the album who plays the guitar, the pedal steel guitar, and the bass guitar, who played in Faces and the Jeff Beck Group. And then in 1975, he moved on to the Rolling Stones, and that's Ronnie Wood. And Ronnie Wood plays on that album. This one's in a little bit of rough shape, but I don't know what version I have. I don't know. This is one of those. It's almost like the Taylor Swift thing where there's like a gazillion different combinations of this, I think.
Well, no, if you've got pull out the inner for a second. Let me see the inner for a sec. Because if you've got Lucille Ball in there somewhere, then I think you've got one of the first ones, because that's one of the main. No, I think that's a second gen, because it's all them with lipstick on. The original ones have. I know Lucille Ball for sure was the one that said, no, you can't use my likeness. And that's why they had to change it on later ones. So
I actually quite like this album. And I mean, I don't know. I think I'm one of the rare people that I actually like the Rolling Stones over the Beatles. That's just me, my preference.
Good night, everybody. Show's over. Bye, Daryl.
But yeah, I went with Some Girls. Yeah, Ronnie Wood plays, like I said, the guitar, the steel guitar or pedal steel guitar, and the bass guitar on that Rod Stewart album. So, and I was hoping, Joe, that I would have had one of those rare copies with Lucille Ball, but I guess I don't.
no, sorry, don't mean to be a bubble burster, but yeah, it's the one. Like I said, the original ones or the first runs have the celebrities on them. And then then they had to change them, and then they just put lipstick on the Stones and put them on the cover instead. So, but that's probably my favorite Stones album. I think it's darn close. I mean, there's a whole bunch of good older stuff that is pretty solid, but I really like that whole album all the way through. So
we got to take it easy on poor Daryl. First, his Nickelback shirt gets wrecked, and then you burst his bubble about his Stones record.
Yeah, okay, we'll leave him alone for a while. Hopefully the Leafs are at least winning, or have they playing yet?
I think it's 2-2 the last I saw.
Well, there you go. So they're not losing. They're not winning, but they're not losing. So
there you go. Okay, Joe.
All right. So I kind of went the same route, but I went a little different. So I still went with the Ron Wood connection, but I went with the fact that Ron Wood wrote some stuff on this album and also produced, I think, co-wrote and plays the bass on the song Dead Giveaway from Ringo Starr. And there's a whole bunch of people on here. Ringo always had a lot of other artists around when he was making albums. But yeah, so again, as Daryl mentioned, Ron Wood was in the Faces with Rod Stewart. He's on that album. And I think he's on a few of the other ones of the Rod Stewart albums as well. But he is also on here, and Look at Mr. Starkey looking all sexy on the back there with his flowers and his unbuttoned shirt. It's like, I can't remember if we showed this on the albums. Like, what are you thinking? If we didn't, we should have, because this falls into the category of what are you thinking? And I like Ringo. I mean, I like him as a drummer. I like him in the band. I like him on his own. Is he my favorite? No, but I don't mind Ringo. Ringo takes a lot of shit for a lot of things, but I don't mind Ringo. He's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So Ron Wood co-wrote some songs and played some bass, probably on more than one Ringo Starr album, I would imagine. Wood probably got out there and did some other stuff as well.
Well, this is an interesting update. Gausman and Savage walked to the bullpen. What that means is there are two best starters. We knew that Savage would be available in the bullpen tonight because they made that announcement before the game, but Gausman, that's interesting. I feel a little bit better about things if they're headed to the bullpen, because we have 3 innings left. We're up by 1. Our bullpen sucks shit, and our closer, Hoffman, is a goddamn nightmare. So if we've got Savage and Gausman, knock on fake IKEA wood, I feel a little bit better about things.
Yeah, I saw Trey walking out there. I didn't know that that Gausman was going to. So get it done in New York. Screw it. I don't want it back to Toronto. I'll take it if it has to be, but I don't want it back to Toronto. Just get it done in New York.
I just want the Yankees out. And I saw a Rich comment a little while ago, Jays Dodgers World Series. That would be friggin' awesome. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I'd take that one. Yeah, I'd take that.
Yep. I'd also like to see Toronto and Milwaukee, but I think Milwaukee would probably kick our ass. So I don't know. Okay, it is my turn again. So let's do this. Let's do this. I know what's next, but I didn't pull it out of my file here yet. All right. We talked about this before we went live. That I picked this one because I thought there was a lot of ways to go, and apparently the group found this one tough. So all right, the soundtrack And no, it's not the soundtrack to Grease 2, but that's a fantastic soundtrack. The soundtrack to Crossroads. This is the Karate Kid Ralph Macchio movie from 1980 something, 86. I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, this is, a modern telling of the Robert Johnson selling his soul at the Crossroads legend. Ralph, Pony Boy, I think was his name in the movie.
No, Pony Boy was when he was in The Outsiders. He was Pony Boy.
Well, whatever the hell his name was, he had some kind of blues nickname in this movie. And he and this old harmonica player went to the Crossroads, and he has a guitar battle with Steve Vai, who's supposed to be the devil. And it's a lot of 80s cheese. Like the guitar battle at the end sucks. But it's relevant to the time period in which the movie was made. But a good movie. And a nice modern telling of that urban legend. There's a lot of ways to go with this in terms of how you can connect with this. So I'm interested to see what Brian came up with.
Yeah.
You might not be surprised. First of all, I do have this one. And I was just reflecting on it when I pulled it out. Two things. I've never seen the movie. I can't remember the last time.
Good movie.
And I can't remember the last time I played this. And it did also occur to me that I have a lot of soundtracks I've never played, or not that I haven't played, that I haven't seen the movies for. So this is one that I guess I should play this record and see the film somehow. And Rob was reminding us, or telling me that there's a Britney Spears Crossroads, which I didn't actually know about. So that might be interesting too. I don't know. But
it's horrible. My wife watched it one time and I happened to be in the room. And it's bad. It's, as I said to Brian before the show, it is a horribly done, bad, loose ripoff of this movie. The same way that the Spice Girls movie is a horrible, bad, loose ripoff of A Hard Day's Night. Because it is. They're just dreadful.
Yeah, I saw Spice World in the theater. I admit it. So
I did too, because I was a Spice Girl fan.
Attaboy.
Anyway, as I was looking at this, I recognized the name Jim Keltner. You couldn't really not recognize that name because he's everywhere. And when I looked him up on Discogs, there are something like 1,400 credits that he has on or more on Discogs. So I picked a Canadian connection from someone that I quite like, probably one of his lesser appreciated albums. So Jim Keltner shares drumming duties with Harold Blaine on this record. It doesn't tell you who plays on what track, but Death of a Ladies' Man from 1977 from Leonard Cohen. I've always appreciated this cover.
Yeah.
And this, of course, is famously produced by Phil Spector, and it involved lots of alcohol and apparently a loaded gun, and
doesn't every Phil Spector production?
Phil Spector.
You need to say that. We don't know. Yeah.
And then, tapes locked up at night. And I think the thing that irritated Leonard Cohen about this is that he got a credit for the lyrics, but not the music. Phil Spector got the credits for the music. So, yeah, it's a very strange record, but oddly, it's not my least favorite Leonard Cohen record. There are two that I think are worse than this, or not as good as this, I should say. And he did play some of these songs in concert. But anyway, I don't know which tracks have Jim Keltner. It doesn't tell you. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to find out. But I thought I would pick Lenny because I'm a fan on that one. So pretty straightforward connection there.
Okay.
Very nice.
They're bringing in Uriel Rodriguez. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we'll leave Gosman and Savage for the end. I don't know. Be nice if we score a couple more runs. 2-1 doesn't make me feel too comfortable, but we'll see. Okay, Daryl.
Okay. So yeah, this was one that I struggled a bit with. I wanted to go the Ry Cooder route, which I did, but I realized that in my entire 1,300 record collection, I only have 3 records in which Ry Cooder has any attributes on. And the one that I was the most surprised about, and it is a Canadian connection, is Gordon Lightfoot.
What?
So Ry Cooder actually plays the bottleneck guitar on Me and Bobby McGee.
Really?
And he plays, there's something else that he plays on here. I think he plays the mandolin. Yeah, he plays the mandolin on Cobwebs and Dust.
Huh. I had
On
no
Gordon
idea.
Lightfoot's Sit Down Young Stranger album.
Huh.
Cool.
No idea.
So I thought that was a really cool connection because Ry Cooder I wouldn't have attributed to being anywhere near
No.
Gordon Lightfoot.
And that's a great record. I have that. It's good.
Yeah, it is really good. If You Could Read My Mind, possibly one of the most genius songs he ever wrote.
Agreed.
Great tune.
Yeah.
Other than maybe Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, I think may from a writing perspective, the lyrics.
Yes.
But If You Could Read My Mind is amazing. And I was surprised. First of all, I was shocked to find out that I only have 3 albums, like I said, that are even attributed to Ry Cooder, of which one of them is Gordon Lightfoot. So I think one of the other ones I have that he's on, I think, is Cocktail, the soundtrack for Cocktail.
He is. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So, and then another one. But I actually would have thought that in this collection I'd have way more Ry Cooder stuff, but I don't. So something I got to really take a look at.
I have a bunch of soundtracks that he's on. So, okay, Joe.
All right. So you guys were of the MTV Much Music generation. If I say the phrase, give me a donut, a glazed donut, and a bottle of anything to go, does that do anything for you? Or no, is that just me? That's just me.
That's just
All
you.
right. And actually, it's odd you picked this one because I was trying to think of a way that I can work this next album into one of our shows coming up, because I was down a David Lee Roth rabbit hole the other day, watching his videos. And for the beginning of Yankee Rose, there's a part in the grocery store where he comes in dressed like this and says the line that I just said. So for those that are wondering, yet again, what the hell Joe is talking about, if you watch the video, there's a bunch of he did a lot of pre-song video stuff, did David Lee Roth. It was pretty funny, actually. It was pretty good. So anyhow, you mentioned yourself, Steve Vai. Steve Vai is the guy that does the head cutting, is up against Ralph Macchio at the end of the movie. Steve Vai, lead guitar player for David Lee Roth on this album, and his only other one, Skyscraper. But so I had a chance to see David Lee Roth live with that band. I saw Van Halen with Sammy, and I saw Dave with that band. So Steve Vai, not Eddie Van Halen, but he's pretty damn good. So it's an interesting, kind of a fun album. It certainly is a lot more Van Halen-y than say 5150 was. So Dave's influence followed him to his album. Go figure. That's kind of a stupid thing to say, but it still has that Van Halen vibe because, again, he still had a phenomenal guitar player in Steve Vai, and Greg Bissonette and Billy Sheehan were the other artists on this album. So really good stuff. But so Steve Vai, lead guitar player for David Lee Roth when he had his band going. I don't think anymore, and Dave shouldn't be taking anybody's money anymore. But yes, at the time, Steve Vai, who is the guy that Ralph Macchio takes on in the movie Crossroads.
Ryan knows what you're talking about. To go.
Yeah, that's right. To go. Yeah.
Richard,
I don't mind. There's a few other ones, actually, Richard. There's a couple other ones I liked. Just like Paradise was pretty decent.
What about Just a Gigolo? Come on.
Yeah, I like the California Girls and the Just a Gigolo stuff. I think just because it was very visual as far as the video goes, and that's the rabbit hole I was down the other night, was sitting and watching on YouTube, watching all the old David Lee Roth and all the, like I said, all the little fun, interesting, for lack, maybe not interesting, but all the fun little intros he used to do for his videos back in the day. Who did Just a Gigolo originally? I don't know the answer. Just a question. Yeah.
Okay. My turn here. All right. Next round. I admittedly know next to nothing about this record. The Clash, Sandinista. I know nothing about it. I've heard several times. This was a VCLT gift from my good buddy MGK Boston, or MGK Buffalo, or as I call him, Mike. Yeah, he gave it to me, thought I would like it, and I do. I like it. Do I know anything about it? No, I know nothing about the Clash. Know nothing about this record. It's 3 discs. Like it's a lot of stuff, but I certainly enjoy it. I can't tell you anything more about it because I don't know anything about it other than I've listened to it a few times and I like it. So, Brian, I'm sure would have no problem with that one.
Well, I was going to say, of the list that you sent us, this was the outlier on the list. I think. This
Of course, I figured you guys would go. Rob, that's a Clash record? What?
A little bit.
And it's not really I mean, if you're going to pick a Clash record, I'm not sure it should be this one, but
Right.
Still, it's something. So Sandinista, excellent. Well, it's interesting. Maybe it shouldn't be a triple record. But this one I had no trouble with because the first thing that occurred to me is that there's a track on here called Police on My Back. I'm sure you all know it. I guess it was a single. And that song was not written by The Clash. It was written by Eddie Grant. So I went in that direction, and he recorded that song with a band called The Equals, and the album that was on was called Explosion from, I can't remember the date, sometime in the 1970s. So Eddie Grant is the connection. And then I went to my shelf and pulled out this Eddie Grant record, Going for Broke, from something 84, and Romancing the Stone was the song. I guess it was on the soundtrack for the film The Romancing the Stone, and I actually saw that movie unusually. I guess I have some things I've seen. So yeah, Romancing the Stone I picked for that. Yeah, I think the Clash's cover version of Police on My Back is actually a really good one. Sometimes cover versions don't always impress me, but that one I thought was a really great cover version. I think it's hard to compare it to the original, but I think it's a really excellent cover version. So that's what I went to, Eddie Grant as a writer of that song.
Okay. Well done. Richard is saying that's a great Eddie Grant record. Are we talking Eddie Grant like Electric Avenue Eddie Grant? Same guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was after.
I may have heard of that 400 times at the strip club back in the day.
Yeah. Also, it's a pretty good image on the front.
Romancing the Stone.
It was a pretty good image at the strip
It's not
club.
terrible.
Let me tell you. Okay. Daryl.
All right, so Rob, you mentioned that the Sandinista album you know very little about.
Yes.
Well, this album that I'm going to show, I know nothing about, other than the fact that I've heard the name of the band, and that's about it. And I think I might have heard about it. I think maybe because of Brian or Richie. I'm not sure. But on the song "The Magnificent Seven," I was researching that the bass loop that's done on that song is by the bassist Norman Watt Roy, who is the bassist for Ian Dury and the Blockheads. Kind of a, I guess, what would you call it? Like post-punk kind of music. I'm not overly familiar with this album, but
I know more about New Boots and Panties than I do about that one, or I'd listen to New Boots.
We don't need to know about that part of your life, Joe.
It's an album.
Yeah, I've really actually got to throw this on. I've got to throw this album on because it seems like it's a pretty neat album. But I honestly know nothing about it, and I don't know anything about the band. The only thing I know is the lead singer Ian Dury is no longer with us, but the band kind of keeps going on and on. So I just think it's neat that, and I don't know if it was Norman Watt Roy. I think he was insulted to some degree because he wasn't mentioned or credited for the bass loop when the Clash was kind of promoting that Sandinista album. So I don't know how it all went about, but it's kind of cool to know that bass loops and all this stuff, like, you wouldn't, I guess, maybe per se fit this band with the Clash. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't have expected them to be working together on stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Joe, what's your connection?
All right. I got a couple to show here because my connection is, and I think it's probably safe to say, but not fair to say because I really don't know, that the young lady that took the album cover for Sandinista, Penny Smith, I've got that written down, may have been a little bit of a groupie. Again, that's not fair to say because she didn't do the cover of this album by the Jam Sound Effects, and she didn't do any of the photographs on the back, but she did do the photographs on the inside. So, nothing special, but just band shots, some casual stuff, a little different than some of the artwork that's going on the back. But Penny Smith, the young lady that took the cover of Sandinista, did some of the artwork on Sandinista, also did that one for the Jam, and that's a really good album. I should say, I think I said sound effects, but anyway, there's that. And then she also did another album by The Clash that you might have heard of. It's this one called London Calling. So that photo, I believe she took that photo. And that is, I mean, short of the Elvis version of this photo, this is a pretty darn iconic photo. And, I mean, obviously it's just very well known. You could see that without knowing what album it is. And I think a fair amount of people. But then she's also got some of the boys on the back as well. She's got that going on. So, yeah, Penny Smith. Yes, Penny Smith was the young lady's name. And again, I think some more of her artwork on the inside there as well. So she photographed Sandinista, and then she also did some stuff for the Jam, and she also did this other Clash album. So there you go.
And that's the Clash album you should own, Rob.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Right up until you know what? I don't even mind Cut the Crap. I don't like it the most, but I don't even mind Cut the Crap. But after Sandinista, it went down a little further. But this is the album that you should own by The Clash. And we'll make that happen at some point.
All right. That brings it back to my turn then. All right. So the next one, see, I'm not prepared. I'm too busy distracted by the ball game here. What are we on here?
Bryan Adams.
Oh, yeah, Joe's favorite. And you know that I picked this just for you, Joe.
I know you did, and that's okay. I love you for it. Just bring them up every possible chance that you can.
Every goddamn week we're bringing this up. Just
every time.
Now, this isn't Joe's favorite because Joe's favorite is Reckless because his favorite song is Summer of '69. I'm sorry that I'm coughing. I feel like a bag of shit. But I bring this one up because this is kind of an interesting record. Because of all of his records, it's probably the one that never, ever gets talked about ever. And I don't know why that is. I mean, I think because this was the one after Reckless, and Reckless is the biggest album of his career. You know, the one that's after the big one usually gets largely ignored for most bands, I think is kind of the case. I think there's actually some good songs on here. Heat of the Night, Into the Fire, Victim of Love, Native Son I like. Remembrance Day. Hearts on Fire. Pretty good record. 1987. So, where do you gentlemen go with that, Brian?
I have a pretty linear connection, but I have to say, this record I own. I've had it for a long time, and I was kind of interested in Bryan Adams for the period of like Cuts Like a Knife and Reckless, and then I acquired this. I don't think I have ever played this record, which is strange.
That's what most folks will say.
And I do know the track "Heat of the Night." The rest, I'm not sure if I've ever heard them. So that is weird that it's in my.
You would know "Hearts on Fire" for sure.
Yeah, I guess I could
played the shit out of that on Canadian radio.
Yeah, well, maybe. So I should find out if I know it. I should probably just play it, but I don't know. I kind of gave up on Bryan Adams after Reckless. I guess went in different directions. But I wanted to connect that to a record that maybe people wouldn't think I would own, and maybe one that's not in the same even genre. Well, it is sort of. And so the drummer on this record, I had to look it up, is Mickey Curry, who apparently is a drummer from Connecticut. And he also plays drums on this record by Hall & Oates called H2O.
Absolutely.
Which I didn't know until this assignment came through my inbox. And of course, this one, has Man Eater and Family Man. I guess those are the two big ones on here. And to be honest, I have several Hall & Oates records, and I don't mind them. I think for a pop band, they're actually pretty good. So, yeah, not my first choice. Like, they're not my favorite, but I actually don't mind them at all. And the connection is the drummer, and I believe he plays drums on all tracks on both records. I guess that's what I'm led to believe. But I'm not sure about the fashion, but everything else is probably okay. And this is probably a really ugly sleeve. And I don't like this album cover. Oh, the back is even worse, maybe. And they don't talk to each other anymore, right? They're in a lawsuit or something, right?
The picture on the back of that pretty much summarizes their relationship nowadays.
That's
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
so. Yeah, it's too sweaty, really. It's just Anyway, that's the connection there.
So Mickey Curry was Brian's drummer for about 30 years, not for the first couple albums. And it was been Brian's studio drummer and touring drummer. They had a falling out during COVID because Brian wanted to tour and Mickey didn't because, so Brian fired his ass, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Brian's drummer now was his original drummer from years ago, a Vancouver drummer, and his name totally escapes me at the moment.
Wow.
So he's gone back to his original drummer. But
so the original drummer was waiting all these years for a phone call, and it finally happened.
Yeah, apparently. Well, he's been doing other stuff too, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah. That's like the original drummer was at some point said to the new guy from Blue Rodeo, "Okay, thanks for holding my place. I'm done. I'm done being what was he a post office? He retired from the post office. Yeah. Thanks for holding my spot for me."
Yeah, exactly. All right, Daryl, Bryan Adams, what you got?
All right, so for me, this was out of all the ones, this was the easiest one. Richard, are you keeping score? I had to do this.
I don't think he is.
I know where you're going with this.
I don't think he is because this is the first time Joe Robbs mentioned Brian. Yeah. Now I'm going to mention Glass Tiger.
Okay.
Because Mr. Valance is the producer on both of them.
Yep.
And this was a VCLT from none other than Tim Brownrigg, who has got me an autographed copy of Glass Tiger's Diamond Sun, which is my favorite Glass Tiger album. So, yeah, I mean, Jim Valance, I mean, didn't you say he even confirmed what Summer of '69 is even about and all that stuff? Like,
yep.
He full on confirmed it and everything.
It's not.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Valance.
It's not about the summer of 1969.
Jim is. I mean, he's produced tons of albums. Has he done all of Brian's albums or just the '80s stuff?
Some 80s stuff, some 90s stuff. So I think they did. He kind of rotates between him and Mutt Lang, and there's another guy. Basically, three producers that he sort of rotates through.
Yeah. So if you're new to Northern Revolution's channel, this is a great album, by the way. It's got Diamond Sun, Far Away From Here, which is my favorite Glass Tiger song, my song, Watching Worlds Crumble. So this is a good album. 1988. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I was happy when Tim sent this one to me, and for me, I mean, I could have went other ways, but I think Jim Valance, I mean, his name, he's a big name producer, so I went that way.
I knew you were going to go that. I knew you were going to go Glass Tiger on that one. And that was very cool of Tim to send you a signed copy. That's awesome.
Yeah. I like that.
He sent me a signed 5440 record, which was very cool. So awesome. Yeah, Richard's not keeping score because Bryan Adams has been mentioned 50 times in the last 5 minutes.
Right.
And it's still 2-1 Toronto. We got a runner on second and a runner on third and 2 out. God damn it. Just hit a base hit. Somebody. Bring another run in. Jesus. Summer of '69. I didn't watch TV in the 70s. I was too busy getting high and eating roast beef sandwiches. Yeah, it's 4-1 Toronto. Sorry. Very good. Obviously, somebody hit a home run, I'm guessing.
No.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Whoever's watching the game, Ryan, I think you're watching the game. Let me know what happened. I just have the score on my phone here. So, okay.
I have it on over here. I've just been trying not to react because I think I'm a little ahead of you. Yes. So I wait till you react. And then, yeah. So Springer moved the guys along. I just have
the MLB app. So it's how fast the app updates.
Yeah.
Springer did it?
Yeah.
Ooh. So, good.
4-1. Right. Yeah. And then 2 out. But, yeah. Lucas is on first and Vladdy's up.
We needed a little bit of insurance there. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Joe.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the Jim Valance a little bit as well. We'll just extend that conversation. But also part of it is the fact that he and Brian wrote a lot of songs as well. We talked about him being a producer. I think probably in that conversation we talked about writing as well. But before Brian's first album, they had a song on this Prism album, which was a huge hit for Prism. What was it? It was, because I'm not familiar with the song, Take It or Leave It, and it was 1 year before Brian's album came out. But they wrote a lot of songs. I thought, Brian, when you said here's a band that I'm pretty sure you're going to think I would not have, I thought you were going to go with Kiss and War Machine, because they wrote that as well for Kiss, and that would have really thrown people for a loop if you had a Kiss record. I think
I have Kiss records, by the way.
there you go. Okay, I take that
No
back.
way.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. But yes, further to what Daryl mentioned, I'll talk about it a little bit. He also produced and wrote songs for Toronto, Crocus, Loverboy, Lisa Del Bello, Heart, the Payolas. Heart, they wrote a song for the album, the Heart album, the one that was like the 80s big hair Heart. Not that they didn't always have big hair, but yeah. So prolific producer, prolific songwriter, both Brian. And yeah, so they did a lot of work together, but they also did a lot of work and wrote a lot of songs for other people as well that they gave up and gave to different performers. So yeah, Jim Valance, got to be in the Canadian Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Got to be. I'm sure he is. In fact, a while ago, probably. And then maybe the Walk of Fame, because he is, you know, Mutt gets a pretty bunch of, he gets a lot of recognition. I don't know if Valance gets as much. He should. He maybe doesn't, because he didn't have the monster hits that you know, came with Shania and Def Leppard and all the other stuff that Mutt did. But he's always been very solid, and whether he's doing it or not anymore, I have no idea. But if you look him up in Discogs, he's got 3 or 4 pages of collaborations and producing credits and a lot of other things. So yeah, a big name in Canadian music, and was big on that album along with other Bryan Adams.
So, just so you know, Jim Valance was inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame
Okay.
in 2022. Ironically, I'm wearing the Tom Cochrane Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame t-shirt at the moment. He was also inducted into the British Columbia Entertainment Hall of Fame in 2024, and he's also been appointed to the Order of Canada. So,
They must put maybe, what did they put, one every 3 years into that Songwriters Hall of Fame? Because Blue Rodeo just went in, last year?
last
How
year,
is Blue
yeah.
Rodeo just getting into that, unless there's some sort of time frame from when you start to when you go in or something. I don't know what the deal is, but
What I will say is it has to do with often these things are timed to be also promotion related.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
For example, when Blue Rodeo was inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame, just so happened to be the same year that they were releasing an album, they had been asked a year or two previous if they wanted to be inducted, and there was some negotiation as to when that would happen. So there's
That's fair.
some behind the scenes stuff that happens. So
We've got a greatest hits coming out in 2024. So how about you hold off and put us in 2024 so we tie all that stuff together, right? Sure.
Yeah. exactly.
Yeah. And Richard Prism is still active. Al Harlow is the guy that came on board for the second album with Prism that wrote a lot of stuff, is their lead singer. And they're pretty decent live still. I've seen them lots. One of Joanne's favorites. So there you go.
We got a runner on second and a runner on third with 2 out. It'd be nice if we scored another run or two. That would be great. Curtis, how you doing? Blue Rodeo just added a second show here. You're going to try and get tickets. Sold out in 10 minutes last time. Yeah, it's going to be a good tour. It's the 40th anniversary tour. Adam Baldwin and the Jenny Wren are opening. So that's his band. I have never seen him with his band, which is exciting. And my pal Kendall Carson's playing with his band as well. So I'm glad I'm going to see them in November. Pretty exciting. Looking forward to it. And for those that didn't hear this last week, good thing you're not keeping score, Richard, because we've said Blue Rodeo a few times.
Yeah.
I've confirmed that probably early November, I have confirmed an interview with Glenn Miltram, who's Blue Rodeo's drummer. That's going to happen on my channel. So
All right.
Yeah.
Glenn and I have, he has graciously agreed to do that. So there you go. Brian from Tokyo, he's bouncing. He's got other things to do, which is cool, man. Thank you. Always a pleasure when you tune in, man. Keep making the great videos. You do do some
Yeah.
of the best out there. So
Sure.
love it when you join us.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love to live vicariously in Japan through Brian's stuff.
Okay. My turn again. Yes. Okay. The next one. It is my turn now, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's supersize me. There we go. That's Joe. Let's supersize me. There we go.
A bit ironic who you're going to talk about supersizing yourself. but-
Well, she could supersize me without much difficulty. The Bengals, A Different Light, which was there. So they had 3 studio albums in their prime in the 80s, and then they had 2 reunion albums later on. This is the big one from 1985. This is called Different Light. This has Walk Like an Egyptian and Manic Monday, which are their 2 monster hits. I think it probably is their best record. I like the one that came after this as well, Everything. It's got the song in there, In Your Room, which is my favorite Bengals song. For obvious reasons, if you know the lyrics, you'll know why I think it's the best song. I love Susanna Hoffs. I have said countless times she's my fantasy wife. That woman is a goddess. Some great 80s top 40 pop. Brian, shouldn't have been a hard one for you. I think you got a lot of 80s stuff.
Yeah, the question is, do I have a copy of that record?
Sure you do.
I actually don't have a copy of that record.
Really? I'm surprised.
So, I don't have anything from the Bengals in my collection, but I have to
Well,
say,
you need some.
you picked a great fantasy wife. I saw a photo of her recently, and she still looks fantastic. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So I don't have a copy of that record, but I have a double connection to the connection that I'm linking to, because I actually struggled a bit with this one because I don't know why, but I couldn't really figure anything out. Now, of course, Manic Monday was written by Prince,
Which is where I figured you would go with this one.
right, and not credited to him on the record though, credited to I think Christopher, right? But I was also digging down and I realized I saw this credit to the person who mixed that record, which was David Leonard. And not that name meant anything to me at all, but on this Prince record, Prince of the Revolution, Purple Rain, David Leonard is credited with overdubs. I don't know what that is. And also as being the guy who recorded 7 of the tracks at various places. So that is like a double connection. So I don't have any much to say about the Bangles record. Maybe I should get it. I see that record from time to time, but I only know those 2 tracks and they're kind of 80s pop. But I guess I thought that was more of a pop record than, a new wave record. So I guess I've never picked it up, but maybe I should just for whatever. But
The entire record sounds like those 2 songs.
oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
So this record, believe it or not, I found it in a thrift store like 12 or 13 years ago. I should have had it a lot earlier than that, but it's actually pretty good. And I have seen the movie. So it's one of those few soundtracks where I have seen the movie. Is this really the sound? I guess this is the soundtrack, right?
I think so.
Well, I guess. Anyway, Prince of the Revolution, Purple Rain, with 2 connections to the Bangles. That's all I got for that one, because that was harder than I thought it would be.
That would have been an easy one for you.
Well, the Prince part was easy, but other
Sure.
than that.
Okay. Daryl.
Well, Brian, I went the easy route too, and I went with Prince
Great.
for the sole reason that he was the writer under the pseudonym Christopher. But I went with this album instead, which is a pretty cool album. I mean, Raspberry Beret. I mean, that's a really good song. I'm Around the Day in the World, and of course, to me, this is kind of like every time I see like the colors and everything on this particular album, I feel like I'm going back into the 1960s psychedelic stuff. But I mean, I can't really add too much more because I think Brian, you already noted pretty much what I was going to say, and so I'll just we'll just go with that. But yeah, no, I went with the like I said, the Christopher pseudonym Prince, but chose the other famous 1980s album, I suppose, which I always forget the name of this one. I don't know. I don't even know what it's called.
It's Around the World in a Day, isn't it?
Around the World in a Day, yeah. Around the World in a Day. So There you go. Two Prince ones in a row there, Rob.
Amazing.
Okay. Joe.
I have two things. One, I'm just going to talk about because I thought about the fact that Susanna Hoffs is in a band called Ming T with Mike Myers. It was kind of the impetus for Austin Powers. You can look him up. Rob knows who I'm talking about. And then Mike Myers played the record exec that thought that Freddie Mercury and the rest of Queen were insane for doing Bohemian Rhapsody. So I was going to go that route, but I didn't. So what I did was there's a song called Summer Girls on the Bangles album. I believe second side, maybe something like that. Doesn't really matter where it is. But the gentleman that wrote that song has been in 3 bands that I'm aware of. One band was the Box Stop. One band was also who I mentioned last week, which is Big Star. And then the one that I'm going to show because it's an obscure one. I listened to it today, and it's called Tab Falco's Panther Burns. The best way to describe it is if you guys ever watched The Kids in the Hall, where there was Mike Torkelson's blah, 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 I can't remember, and then the music that they played, it just put me in the mind of that, like a Kids in the Hall. These guys are progressive, or at least that's what I got out of it, or psychedelic. I think Alex has maybe mentioned them before, our friend from Beer and Vinyl. But anyway, and on here, Alex Chilton is just LX Chilton on here, but he's in this band for this album along with others. He's also in Big Star, and he was in the Box Tops, but he wrote the song Summer Girls. What else did I have? And he produced and played actually in this band. So LX Chilton, but Alex Chilton of all of those bands. So there you go. A little different. And I don't think he had anything to do with Prince in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe. He might have. I don't know. Prince might have brought him in for something. Who knows?
I was hoping someone would go the Alex Chilton route. He wrote stuff on their reunion album too, Dull Revolution. So
yeah, you kind of walked away. I don't know if you heard me say that I was going to go with the Ming T at first, and then show a Bohemian Rhapsody album because Mike Myers of Ming T played the exec in the movie, in the Freddie movie Bohemian Rhapsody. But I didn't. I went with the Alex Chilton route. So
background, and maybe no one knows this, maybe only I do because I'm a super Bengals fan. So that band in the Austin Powers movie is what led to the Bengals reuniting, because that is the Bengals. Do you know why that happened?
I think you told me before, but I can't remember. No.
Because the director of Austin Powers 2 is Jay Roach, who is Susanna Hoffs' husband. And so when they were doing it, Mike Myers is like, we need like a psychedelic band. And Jay's like, why don't I ask Susanna if the Bengals want to appear in the movie? And so they did. Or part, I don't know if every one of them, I can't remember if all of the Bengals were there, but that, I think it was. But it was them that recorded that song, and that was the impetus for them to do their reunion at the House of Blues, which came out as a DVD called Return to Bangleonia, and then they put out their Dull Revolution album and whatever. So it's because of Austin Powers and Susanna Hoffs' husband that we got 2 more Bengals albums.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the Jays game. No, that's just me. That's just me doing my lame
Austin Powers. Yes. 4-1 Toronto, bottom of 7. Not going to IKEA wood. We keep it up. Okay. Me again.
Yeah.
We got a few more here. Okay, the next one on my list. Again, I don't know a lot about this one. This was another VCLT, but I took this as an opportunity to show a couple of VCLT records that I don't necessarily talk about a lot. And they're albums that I probably would not have bought myself, but I'm thankful that someone gave them to me because they thought I might like them. So this is ELO's Out of the Blue. This was a VCLT from Jeff at Speaker's Corner, who just lives the next town over from me. He and I occasionally go to record shows together, and he gifted this to me last Christmas, I believe it was. And it's a really good record. Do I know anything about ELO other than, you know, it's Jeff Lynne. That's pretty much all it is. I'm familiar with Jeff Lynne, obviously, from his work with the Wilburys, but don't know a lot more beyond that. But I enjoyed this record. I thought it was quite good. There's the gatefold. ELO. This should, I think, be an easy one for Brian, I would imagine.
Well, I guess it was easy. I I do have some ELO records, but I don't have that one, which is a little strange, I suppose. So this is the one where I think I took the most direct path, probably the most direct path you could think of, because Jeff Lynne, of course, and Jeff Lynne is all over this record from George Harrison, Cloud 9, which I believe was George Harrison's last studio record before he passed away, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So, and on this record, you have Jeff Lynne, who is credited as the producer along with George Harrison. You also have Eric Clapton, Elton John, Gary Wright, Ringo Starr, Jim Keltner, once again, Ray Cooper, etc. And this has two big hits on here, right? We have When We Was Fab and oh my God, got my mind set on you. I guess those were the two big ones, right?
Yeah.
But so that one, ELO, there was a lot of linkages to places I just didn't have anything, I just didn't have anything that worked, which is strange. I thought it would be easier, but that was a strange one for me. So it just tells you I don't have a lot of apart from Traveling Wilburys, which was a bit obvious. Well, this one is probably obvious too. So that's the way I went in this, because I was kind of didn't want to do the obvious thing, even though that's obvious.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, Daryl, you're up. I'm just going to run quick and say goodnight to my kid. I'll be right back. Take it away.
All right. So hopefully you don't hear too much noise going on in the background. My room is attached to our kitchen, so microwaves going off and stuff like that. I went a totally different direction on this because I think that the cover for that ELO album is really cool with the spaceship and all that kind of thing. And the art design was done by a British artist named Kosh. And I would never have associated, based on what that ELO album looks like, I would never have associated the Motels Little Robbers cover as being designed by the same art designer that designed the ELO one.
Yeah.
So it's his nickname, I think. He goes by Kosh, Kosh. But if you look him up on Discogs, he's got quite a few credits. But this is a really cool album. I don't even know when I got this, but Suddenly Last Summer that's a really good song. But the rest of the album is just that easygoing 1980s stuff, just on the Capitol label. And yeah, so I went with the art route. Like I said, would never have attributed the same artist to this album as that nice. See, I would have thought that the artist for ELO might have been the same artist that designed, say, like the Boston albums. That would have been a little bit more. And I don't know, maybe Kosh did. I don't know, but I definitely wouldn't have thought Little Robbers by the Motels and ELO going in the same vein. But I guess, if you hire a designer, they'll do art for anybody, right? So yeah. Motels, Little Robbers, and
Very
ELO kind of together.
Motels had like 3 or 4 albums, I think. They just really never caught on much after those first couple of singles. I think they kept putting stuff out though, but it just never really had a lot of success. And she had a phenomenal voice. I mean, Suddenly Last Summer, great song, great voice on it. So
for sure.
Okay, I'm going to go the route of the band that Mr. Lynne was in before, and he was in a couple that actually had some vinyl. I have one of them at the store called The Move, but this is, I think, even before that, and this is The Idle Race. And it says right on the cover, featuring Jeff Lynne. It doesn't say of ELO, but it does say featuring Jeff Lynne. Imposters of Life's magazine. This is, you can see where Jeff was going to go with ELO a little bit on this. You can see it on The Move as well. And Daryl, I'm not familiar. Are you guys familiar with either of these bands before ELO for Lynne? No. There's a version of Do Ya by The Move. I don't know if there was anything that translated from here, but that light bulb is a big. It comes up a couple of times on some ELO stuff as well. But yeah, the band is called The Idle Race, and it's the band before Jeff Lynne was in ELO. The date on this is, I think this is a original. It's Canadian copy. I don't know. It doesn't matter. 60s though, because you think of ELO, and ELO was around right early start of the 70s. Like they were not 80s. They were still popular in the 80s. They had some different type of ELO, and then of course then we got into Wilburys and George Harrison and Tom Petty and all the rest of the things that Jeff Lynne had a hand in. But this is the band that Lynne was in before ELO. So there you go. The Idle Race.
Interesting.
It's good. Like I said, it's got some shades of. I don't think he was necessarily the head of this band, as best as I can tell. I think he had a lot more influence on the move than he did on this band, but you could tell there was a little bit going on this one that's going to be an ELO stuff later. So
Okay. All right. Me again. Okay. We got 3 more to go. 3 more to go. I think this one will be interesting. I think you guys will have some interesting picks on this one. Robbie Robertson's self-titled album from 1987. This was a gift from Keith at Attack Down Under. He sent this to me because this had come up in the stream months and months ago where we had talked about it. I said, I've only ever seen it in the wild once, and I couldn't buy it because it had already blown my budget at a record show, and I'd never ever seen it since. And Keith said to me, I've got it. I'll send it to you. And the kind man that he is, he did, and it's great. Showdown in Big Sky and Somewhere Down the Crazy River. I remember both those songs on the radio back in the late 80s when I was a kid. I won't say anything more about this album because I can imagine where you guys will probably go with this one. So I know where Brian's going with this.
Do you?
I imagine.
he might mess with you.
I mean, this one was probably the easiest one because I think I could have pulled 50, 60 records off my shelf that matched up with this in many different ways. But I went with, this might surprise you, the guy that plays the bass and the Chapman stick on here is Tony Levin. And
that's not where I figured you were going.
You were thinking Daniel Lanois, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I picked it for that reason.
And when the obvious place to go for me with Tony Levin would be straight to King Crimson, starting in 1981. But in fact, I chose something else. And I remember I don't even know when I first learned that Tony Levin played bass on this record. But in fact, the bass player on this record from John Lennon and Yoko Ono, Double Fantasy, is Tony Levin. Which, as I say, the first time I heard it, I was surprised by that because I had listened to this record numerous times and didn't realize it. And even at the time when I was listening to a lot of Tony Levin projects, I was surprised to find out he was the bass player on this
I thought it was Klaus Warman who did a
Yeah.
lot of John's bass playing.
It's strange, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I
So,
feel bad for him that he had to play bass for Yoko.
so it is bass guitar, Tony Levin. That's funny. It says bass guitar rather than just bass. Yeah, I always say that this would have made a good EP.
Yes.
Because some of the songs I don't really love, but the John Lennon songs on here are top shelf.
Incredible.
Fantastic.
Some of
Which
his
made it-
best solo stuff.
Oh yeah, just made it all the more tragic because he was seemed like he was starting he was just like starting over.
Just like
So,
starting over.
Yeah, fantastic. But half of it's fantastic. But Tony Levin, that's the connection there.
Is that not the most said phrase after somebody shows that album? Well, half of it's good because it doesn't matter who shows it. They say, well, half of it's good. And then to its defense a little bit, and I think that Scott is actually, Scott, who's no longer with us in the chat, he didn't pass away, but in the chat has actually met Yoko Ono. So he always takes a little bit of umbrance to that when someone says that because he met the lady and thought that she was interesting, if I could paraphrase how he put it. So, but
There's no
I'm
doubt
sure she is interesting, and I would
Yeah.
love to meet her too. Do I respect her musically? No. But
Yeah.
is she interesting? Oh, God, yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, what she saw, being in the studio when they recorded the White Album and being John's partner and the breakup of the Beatles and everything since then.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And I have met people who really like her music, and it's just not me really, but
they're out there. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything.
Yes. Yoko is definitely interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Listen, I'm not a fan, but John loved her. And I think, I think I'm a believer that the person you choose to be your partner in some way shapes or affects who you become, right? So, did she have an influence on the music that he made? Yeah, I think she absolutely did. And I love John's post Beatles music. He's the only solo Beatles I even give a shit about. So we shouldn't shit on her too much. And she's done a good job of honoring his legacy and putting out music posthumously, and done a great job of working with the Beatles and Harrison's estate to put out stuff. So hats off to Yoko. Sorry, Yoko, if we don't like your singing, but we love everything else.
There you go.
I say that like Yoko is just going to magically tune in and see this, right?
She might.
You don't know. Julian's probably not got lots going on these days.
I think he just put up an album, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he? Yeah.
I think so.
Sean's still doing stuff, right? But
Sean's still doing stuff, and he's sort of taken over as kind of the caretaker of his father's estate. Like he did that big Mind Games box set. He was in charge of that crazy, awesome thing. So look who's joining in. Tim, catching up on comments. Saw the Brian chit chat, haha. Saw Brian Sunday Prism here in Ottawa tomorrow. We were talking about you a little while ago, Brian or Tim, when Daryl showed the 54 or the Glass Tiger album.
Glass Tiger.
there you go.
Jeez, and yes, go Jays! I'm watching it. I'm watching the app on the side here. So, okay, so it's Daryl's turn.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that album that Brian you just showed there. It was a little noisy there. I had to go on mute. But just like Starting Over is possibly one of Lennon's greatest songs. That's an amazing song, and there's a lot of good tracks on that album. So
yeah,
I just want to add that.
You get there.
Yeah, I went a little bit of a different route with this one. I did go with a Canadian artist on this. So 1989, Robbie Robertson. If you've been watching the videos that I've been doing, I got that Juno Awards series that's going on. And Robbie Robertson, that album won Album of the Year with the Junos in 1989. There was a gap. I think in 1988, I don't think they gave out an award, but the award, the Juno Album of the Year, previous to Robbie Robertson, there was a coworker of mine, and this was his favorite Canadian musician of all time. Rest in peace, Dan Prue, but he loved Kim Mitchell. And Kim Mitchell's Shaken Like a Human Being won the Juno Award Album of the Year in 1987. So that's my connection, is that both of these albums were award winners in Canada. This one here has Patio Lanterns on it, Easy to Tame. These were played all Canadian radio. They all over the place.
5-1
I'm
Blue
assuming
Jays.
the Yankees just scored.
No, 5-1 Blue Jays.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this album other than it's absolutely fantastic, and I can see why it won Album of the Year. It's got a few big hits on it, but the rest of it's really good too. And of course, I mean, I guess I could have went with any. I almost went with Anne Murray on this one with her greatest hits, because I didn't realize her greatest hits album was actually nominated and won Album of the Year as well. So could have went a whole pile of different Juno Award routes, but Kim Mitchell, and of course his Ontario Provincial Police hat that he always wore.
Yep.
Yeah, and Patio Lanterns.
I don't know if he still does, but great album. So
still gets played on the radio. That Patio Lanterns for sure.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, what's your connection to Robbie Robertson?
All right, I was gonna go. I'll do this quick again. I was gonna go the route of Garth Hudson. Plays keyboards on that. Garth Hudson also plays keyboards on the album Snow in June by the Northern Pikes, but I think I did that when we did this before and you picked the band. So, but that's a connection. And
which
I
is
just
now why I'm on the hunt for that Northern Pikes record.
Yeah, we got to find
Good
that.
luck.
Really hard.
Snow in June is hard. Is I've had multiple people ask on Discogs, are you selling that? No, I'm not. I talked to Semco the few times that I've seen him, and I said, "You're reissuing that at some point, right?" He goes, "Yeah, we're trying," but it's kind of like One Bad Son. But anyway, so where I'm going to go is not the U2 route, which I thought someone else would probably go with.
Somebody
route.
would.
Yeah.
We should.
But I'm going to
mention-
go with the
okay,
band that I've
before-
mentioned a few times when we talk
Before you
about.
show yours, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should explain that to folks that maybe don't know. U2 is on this record. They
Yeah,
play 2
U2
songs on this record.
Sings a lot, actually. They are
Yeah.
on a lot of the album, actually. And then Daniel Lanois, as mentioned earlier, is part of it as well. So
And I
yeah.
think how that happened is they were both in the studio. Like they were, one was in Studio 1 and the other was in Studio 2. And I think Lanois was working on both or something like that happened. And I guess they tried playing together. And I guess there was some kind of magic. And so when you had first talked about this album 8 months ago or whenever it first got brought up, I had no idea about the U2 connection. I'm a massive fan of Robertson and the band, and I'm a massive fan of U2. And when you told me that, I'm like, holy shit, I had no idea. And that was like, this is why I have to find this record. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the why don't you have that record? That was that moment, right? It's
Right.
like you should have that. So yeah,
And-
Sweet Fire of Love. They're all over that. And it's not just Bono. Bono sings, of course, but Larry's, I think all of them are on at least a couple of the songs,
Yeah.
at least maybe 3. So Robbie had a lot of friends, right? Going back to obviously the last waltz, Robbie had a lot of friends in the business that helped him on his stuff. So
right. And you wouldn't necessarily think of U2 and Robbie Robertson in the
Nope.
same thought, let alone on the same record. But those 2 songs you could lift out and put on a U2 record, and they would perfectly fit on a U2 record.
sure, like Sweet Fire of Love could be on Rattle and Hum in a
Absolutely.
heartbeat, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So, but another band that is on as well that I've mentioned a few times that I enjoy is the band The Bodines. They are on
Yeah.
backup vocals on a lot of the songs. Good roots rock out of I can't remember exactly what state they're from, but American band. They're on Somewhere Down the Crazy River, that really high stiletto. What's the right word?
Falsetto.
Falsetto. Thank you. Got something on my mind, but anyway, I digressed a little bit with stilettos. I'm looking over at Lindy Ortega, but those are cowboy boots. Anyway, that really high voice on Somewhere Down the Crazy River, that is the gentleman from the Bodines. They had some really good stuff, and I'm not positive that Robbie joined them on an album. T-Bone Burnett produced this album. T-Bone Burnett has done tons and tons of stuff as well. Another big name producer. But yeah, the Bodines are on at least a couple of the songs on that album. There was a lot of collaboration. Robbie went out, found some of his buddies, and they just made a really, really stellar album. So and everybody fits. I mean, that's silly to say, but they really do just all fit on that album nicely. And you said that yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get the impression because this is his first solo album. It's 87, and the band essentially disbanded after The Last Waltz, which was 76, I believe. The album came out in 77. That's a decade that he didn't put out music. And I think Robertson maybe wasn't comfortable being a front man because he wasn't in the band. He was just the guitar player and the songwriter. He didn't sing. He let the other guys sing, right? So I kind of think on this album, he out of maybe reluctance to be the front man, found some collaborators, I think, to just kind of prop him up a little bit. Not that he needed it, but I could be totally wrong, but that's my impression having listened to this and knowing the backstory. And it turned out to be a fantastic record.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the last thing he did was the score for that Scorsese movie, right? The most recent Scorsese movie.
He did a lot
Robbie
of scores, and actually on Black Friday Record Store Day, there's a Robbie Robertson soundtrack.
Oh, okay, cool. I never noticed that. Good. That'll be good.
I don't know if it's a a collection of his various pieces. I don't really know the details, but there's a Robbie Robertson soundtrack thing coming out. So
Got it. Cool. That's awesome.
okay. Let's bring it back to me here. We have 2 more to go.
We do.
This is another one that I just picked up at the record show this weekend that I have needed to buy for a very long time. It just, it's easy to find. I just hadn't stumbled across it. So, Janis Joplin's Pearl. which was, I guess, her first solo record after she left Big Brother and the Holding Company. And this is with the Full Tilt Boogie Band, who are this ties in nice to what we were just talking about. The Full Tilt Boogie Band are from Stratford, Ontario, which ironically, and this is pure coincidence, is also the hometown of Robbie Robertson and the band.
Yep.
Stratford, Ontario, about 40 minutes that way from where I'm sitting. So a bunch of Canadian lads on here. Also the hometown of Justin Bieber. So there must be something in the water in Stratford.
You're making your own connections now. Attaboy.
See? So yeah, a good record. This has, if we're talking hits, I guess, Me and Bobby McGee, the Chris Christopherson song. This was mentioned earlier. I think Daryl mentioned it because Gordon Lightfoot covered it before Janis Joplin did. I've seen Chris Christopherson perform that with Blue Rodeo, if you're keeping score, Richard. Mercedes-Benz is on here as well. I actually really, really like this record, and I just didn't have a copy up until this weekend when I found it at a record show for like $10. So can't go wrong. Janis Joplin and the Full Tilt Boogie Band. Brian.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that she has a cigarette in her hand on the cover of this record. So because the Full Tilt Boogie Band is a Canadian connection, I wanted to see if I could connect that to another Canadian artist. So Richard Bell on the piano on this record appears on this 1999 Bruce Cockburn record on organ on 4 tracks. I don't remember which tracks, but this is Breakfast in Timbuktu. No, I always get it back. Breakfast in New Orleans, Dinner in Timbuktu. I think he's released 7 albums since this one came out in 1999. Of course, Bruce started in 1970, so he's been active for 55 years. He's still touring. And this was like a later career. Well, 1999 is like quite a while ago now, but it seems like it was a later career album. And this is a pretty good one, I have to say. But Richard, I don't know much about Richard Bell, and I don't know which tracks he's. Well, I do know which tracks he's playing on here, but I the font here is I can't read it. So anyway,
That's fair.
Bruce Cockburn, Canadian folky, has Richard Bell on this record. So that's all I got to say about that one. Pretty direct connection, but I just wanted to bring a Canadian content since he's a Canadian artist on that record. If that makes sense.
I could bring this connection full circle because Richard Bell in the 90s would join the reformed The Band minus Robbie Robertson.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
And he played on their 3 records. They did Hind the Hog, Jericho, and Jubilation, I think, were the 3 studio albums after Robbie Robertson. And Richard Bell was an official member of the band in the 80s and 90s.
Cool.
And those albums are not nearly as good as the band with Robbie Robertson. But
Right.
yeah, one of those albums is being released on Record Store Day for the first time, so I have to get that as well. So, anyway,
You say it's odd that Janis has a smoke in her hand on that picture. There probably was not very often a time she didn't have a smoke going. So they just took the picture and went, yeah, okay, whatever. So
Yeah.
I think that's how she lubricated her voice to get
it might have been.
I
Yeah,
think she has a
little bit.
drink as well. So
shocking.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay, Daryl.
Well, I too have Pearl. I actually have 2 copies of it. I don't know why I have 2 copies of it, but I have 2 copies of Pearl. And you mentioned like the big hits on there, Mercedes-Benz, Me and Bobby McGee and everything. So that album, Pearl, has gone, I think it was 3 times platinum. That album's gone worldwide. It sold millions of copies. Now, I haven't seen them crawl into the comments section yet, and sometimes we have the situation where I mention Music Talk with John. I talk about Billy Joel. Billy Joel's coming up. This album hasn't gone 3 times platinum, Glass Houses, but the song It's Still Rock and Roll to Me has gone 3 times platinum as an actual individual track. So my connection is the album that you just showed is a 3 times platinum, and the song Still Rock and Roll to Me is 3 times platinum. This is a really good album, though. Sometimes the fantasy is good. Don't ask me why. I know that Music Talk has talked about that this is like one of his last. Well, I'm not saying he doesn't like all the other albums, but I think the way he puts it is that Billy Joel goes a little bit more pop 1980s after this, right? With the Nylon Curtain and a few other albums that he did. So I think Music Talk says that this is the last authentic late 70s, early 80s rock and roll style Billy Joel stuff. And then he goes a little more mainstream after that. So this is really, I like this. I got this summer, the market in Grand Bend. I think I paid, I don't know, $5 or $10 for it. So pretty good album, cheap stuff. And it's done really well over the years. So there we go.
Richard is saying this show is very educational. Well, you know what they say: if you can't entertain people, you might as well educate them. So, okay, Joe.
Fisher just struck out some big, tall, goofy-looking bugger named Judge.
I see that. We got 2 out, bottom of the 8th.
Correct.
Knock on IKEA wood.
Got to get through Judge, and they're through it, so that's good. Okay, I am going to go with the fact that this album, unfortunately for Janis, was put out posthumously. I think I said that word correctly this time. I know I've said other words incorrectly, but I think this time I said that correctly. So, which means after she died, in case you don't know. So I believe, according to Google or Wikipedia or someone, it was 3 months after she had passed away, the album came out. And another album that came out posthumously, not for the entire band, it's a little different. Look at the purple glow on that. I'm not sure if that's supposed to happen. That might be a ghost going on or something.
or it's a sniper. Look out.
What the hell is exactly? Anyway, Ian Curtis of the band Joy Division. This is Closer. Came out after Ian had passed away, a couple of months after. So I went the posthumously route for Janis. Part of the 27 Club, we all know that. The 27 Club, of course, those that passed away at the age of 27, her, Jim Morrison, there's a whole bunch. You can look it up. I don't need to bore you with that. And the morbid fact that people passed away before they should have, unfortunately, Jimi Hendrix as well. But yeah, so posthumously released was Pearl, as was Closer by Joy Division.
Right. Okay. All right. We have one more round, and we're in the bottom of the 8th. So maybe we can get this done before the bottom of the 9th, so I can go hopefully watch my team win. So let's we'll do this expediently. How's that sound, guys?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know why I pulled this, but I just thought, hey, let's pull it. Sorry, everybody. That was unexpected. Neil Diamond, Love at the Greek, recorded live at the Greek Theater. Neil's got a lot of live albums. There's like 4 Hot August Nights, which were also at the Greek Theater, if I'm not mistaken. This came out in 1970. I don't know what the hell, 70 something. It's a gatefold. It looks like this. I am a huge fan of Neil. I think Neil is just one of the coolest fucking guys ever. And one of the best concerts I've ever been to. I saw Neil about 15 years ago. And as a 70-year-old man, he blew me away. He's just the consummate showman. Absolutely incredible. I love, as I call him, Neil fucking Diamond.
There you go. Yeah.
Where you go with that, Brian?
Almost nowhere. I mean, I don't have a single Neil. I don't have any Neil Diamond records. I know very little about him apart from the fact that, well, actually in middle school, I was in the band and we played Sweet Caroline. I don't even know the lyrics of that song. However, yeah, that's right. So I did look up this record because I know nothing about it. And much to my surprise, it indicates that the producer is Robbie Robertson. Did you know that?
It is. Yes.
So just to make this as expeditious as possible, I just grabbed a record from the band, music from Big Pink, because we just saw the Robbie Robertson record. And well, not that he has only one. And that's all I'll say, because I didn't know that. I was actually surprised to hear that. I don't think I'll ever buy a Neil Diamond record, but maybe someone could convince me. I don't know. But the band, music from Big Pink, is my connection through Robbie Robertson. There you go.
Very nice.
Okay. You don't think of Robertson as a producer of someone's live record, typically.
Yeah, that's true. It's really weird.
Okay, Daryl.
I went quite possibly the cheapest route on this, but I thought I would just literally go straight up with a live album.
Sure.
But the way that I see this is if you look at Barry Manilow, and this is a great live album, by the way, Barry Manilow live. But I always find that Barry Manilow and Neil Diamond have some similarities. Like you look at Barry Manilow, he's very glitzy. He's got the studded diamonds or whatever it is on his outfits and all that. And Neil Diamond did the exact same thing. He had these big performances. Lots of people in the concerts, lots of women. And it's a gatefold. So I went the simple way. I just went with the live one. But I think, like I said, I think that Barry Manilow and Neil Diamond, to a degree, when it comes to their live performances, have some very big similarities. Just the glitzy, the glam, the women. It's all there. And that's my connection.
That's what we all want. Glitz, glam, and women, right?
What more could you ask for? So
I have to ask this question. It's the bottom of the eighth. There's 2 out. We're up by 4. There's 2 men on base. Who is the worst fucking pitcher that the Jays could bring in right now? Jeff Hoffman. So who's pitching? Jeff Hoffman. Jesus Christ.
I wasn't gonna say anything because I just watched that all happen on the screen here.
God damn it. Like, I mean, you might as well bring me in to pitch.
But on a happy note, you get a pitching change, so you get a little more time to finish this show up, and then you get the chance
Right.
to watch.
Jeff Hoffman. I wouldn't trust him to take my garbage out to the curb. God, he's known for giving up home runs.
Yeah. it's
Oh,
true.
shit. Oh,
Maybe
okay.
he will surprise you. Stay positive.
Oh. Okay, Joe.
Okay. As you mentioned, live from the Greek Theater. So I went with another band that recorded at Same Said Greek Theater, which is in Los Angeles, if I remember correctly, right?
Yep.
But yeah, and you're right. I believe as well, at least 2 of them for sure of Neil's other live albums have been recorded there. But as was this album by the band America, our friends Sister Golden Hair and A Horse with No Name and all that good stuff live at the Greek Theater. All the tunes are taken from the 4th night of a 4-night engagement recorded at the Greek Theater, July 24th, 1977. I believe Love at the Greek was also in 77 because there was a TV show Love at the Greek was based around or filmed part of, right? So, yeah, so that was in 77. So was this. And yeah, that's about all I got. Photographer, that's nothing interesting. Yeah, just good old America, the band,
All right.
live at the Greek Theater.
Okay. Well, that does our list of albums. That was fun, guys. Like, I think it wasn't too challenging, but these
was good.
episodes are always kind of fun to do. So,
Yeah, there's so many different, like you said yourself, if you're going to do a video, you could go and you could spider out from a couple of those albums. And there was a lot of, Robbie Robertson got mentioned more than once. Lots of guys got mentioned more than once. And probably, if you really tried, could still be attached back to some of the albums as well. So yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. And Nickelback is a fan of all of them. That's the tie-in. Hey, look,
I
someone
sure
got a
are.
Nickelback shirt on.
And yet Nickelback didn't come up in one of these connections at all.
They didn't.
What a
Not
shame.
this time. No.
what
No.
a shame.
What a shame.
We'll do what we always do. We'll go around the horn, and if you want to talk about something you put on your channel, something you got coming up, anything you want to talk about, Brian, since you're our guest, what's going on over in your world?
Well, I posted a video, I was going to say today, but maybe it was yesterday. And the only other thing I'll say is that on Sunday, I'll be on Chris Mann's live stream, Final Man. So if you're around and want to check that out, that's all I'll say. That's all I got.
Okay.
There you go.
Daryl, what's up with you?
Well, I'm heading out to North Bay this weekend just for a couple days, see my daughter and stuff like that on the way down. And I had a video that I did yesterday. It's just a contest entry for Craig Danger, but I thought it was fun. Blind buys and whether you had success with them and stuff like that. And I have a video that's scheduled for Sunday. I apologize though, because it's 30 minutes long. I think it's the longest video I've ever done if you get through it. But I had a kind of a neat concept. I think it's a neat concept, so you guys can watch it on Sunday. I'm not going to spoil it, but
Okay.
thought it was different.
Okay. Joe, what's going on at the store? What's going on with you?
Nothing going on in the Personal Racer Records channel, and the store probably going to film something tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure. Might be part of the 12 Things That Don't Belong Here series. And just steady, just nice and steady. So it's always good. It's always fun. There's a couple of collections I'm looking at. So the same thing I say every week, because it kind of is just, it's a bit of a repetitive business a little bit. You're always looking for something to bring in, and you're always trying to promote the shop. So let's get you out of here so you can go and watch the 9th inning.
Oh, of course. He fucking just walked Rice. God damn it. Jeff Hoffman. Oh. If he blows this, he should be publicly stoned by every fan in Toronto.
Yeah.
What a piece of garbage. Okay. I don't have anything on my channel just because I did dental surgery last week and I'm sick as a dog this week. But once I get over that, and it is Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend, so I may not do a video this weekend. But the next one I'm going to do is for Daryl's Juno thread, because I think that's an interesting one. So we'll leave it at that. To everyone that has joined us tonight, thank you for joining us. We love chatting with you, and everyone that's going to watch this later. Appreciate spending a couple hours with us. We will be back. Check out Brian and Embryonic Robot. Check out Chris Mann's live stream, which Brian will be on. I might be or might not be. I don't know. It's a week by week thing. So we'll be back next week, and hope everyone has a great weekend. Go Blue Jays. So good night, gentlemen. Have a good one.
Night, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.